Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Elmore County Commission work session dated Tuesday, October 9th, 2018. I'll call this meeting to order. We will begin with regular business. First, we have a review of the minutes of the September 24, 2018 Commission meeting. Any comments or corrections on that? Proceeding, we will move to review the memorandum of warrants for the period of September 19, 2018 through September 30th, 2018. Mr. Byer?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, for the period stated, the memorandum of warrants was $1,909,036.78.
Thank you. Any comments or questions there? We'll proceed with old business. Discuss board appointment to the Ridge Improvement District due 10/22/2018. Current candidate listed is Thomas T. Lamberth. Are there any comments or questions there? This will be an appointment that we will make at our next commission meeting. Hearing none, we'll move forward with our new business. We'd like to invite local citizen, Miss Judy Robertson, to come to the podium. Ms. Robertson, you have 3 minutes to address the commission, and then if we have any questions, we will ask you at that time. Ma'am, we don't do any of that here with regards to some of your suggestions or inquiries. It is something that these are requests. So if you'll go stand at the podium so everyone can hear you. And
it's in order for me to be able to landscape my land. My land has suffered severely in the past. The good news is my neighbors here. And we have across the street some of the most wonderful people that have totally re-landscaped their whole yard, and it looks beautiful. I plan to put my house on the market in 2019. Hopefully it will sell in the first place in 2019. But this will make my house much easier to sell, perhaps even help my water issues. But it still looks as though, because I went out the last real heavy rain and walked to the intersection of High Road and Jackson Hill Road, and there we had very little water in the ditching on each side, and which means that most of it is running down down the road and between the houses, down on Pine Forest, where I have, and it's there where the asterisk is. It's the next to the bottom. It's a man-made land disturbance. It is documented by ADEM. It was put in by Elmore County in 2011, and I know that's before some of you were born. But I feel like it's been there forever because it's been causing great erosion on my land, and some of you can see that, I have 3 ditches in front of my house now. One where I used to have azaleas and I got flower beds. it's very expensive to have my lawn maintained because the whole thing has to be weed eaten. It takes 2 days to weed eat. So I have just let my yard go. My neighbors are going to be so excited once I get my yard landscaped. And I need a lot of care and concern about, getting the water off of pine forest. And a lot of it is right on the road, turns at the intersection. So is there anything that, you would be able to help me?
Well, ma'am, I can address a few things. First, as you are very well aware, we have spent many, many years working on your issues. This is not the first time, ma'am. Let me speak right now. 8 years, and in 2012, you filed a loss against the county due to the Jasmine Hill Road and Pine Forest Drive and the water coming off of those roads and going onto your property. And in 2012, a third-party engineering firm was brought in to evaluate Pine Forest Drive and Jasmine Hill Road, and that third party determined that those two roads, and given the structure of the roads and given the drainage that is afforded to those roads, it's not directly causing any of the issues on your property. Now, well, and I hope that that's the case. I hope that you are able to, that some of those other projects that your neighbors may be taking on, along with the normal maintenance that the county does do for any citizen in the county, where if there is a need for a culvert to be cleared out or a ditch to be deeper or any of those issues that we realize do occur, we'll continue to provide that maintenance to any issue, whether it be on Jasmine Hill Road or any other road in the county. And we'll continue to monitor those issues as they may arise.
I would like to say that October the 10th, I have talked back and forth with Chairman Troy Judge numerous times. He's been out at least 3. And each time, we thought everything was going to be, a lot of these asterisks, we thought that all of this would be taken care of. Yet when he called and we talked again, things had changed. So what I am asking is that, we can get action this time. We've spent, like I say, from last October to October is where we are, 2018. I request to speak at the November 2018 meeting to just give a progress report on how things are moving along on the asterisk area.
Well, ma'am, we appreciate you providing this. We will continue to do the maintenance that we do on all county roads. If a culvert needs to be cleared or a ditch needs to be deepened, we will continue to do that. We appreciate your recommendations, and Ma'am, have you presented what you would like to present tonight? You've provided us with documentation of the things that you would like.
The only other thing is that I have been given two different reasons why I have not been able to speak. It's been 4 months since I requested it. And that's why I'm requesting a November 2018 meeting, so I can give the commission, the public, a progress report, an update.
Ma'am, I can provide them the progress report. The progress report is we will continue to maintain the culverts and ditches in front of your property and along Jasmine Hill Road and along Pine Forest Drive. The issues related to water running off of those roads onto your property, you filed suit in 2012, and a third-party engineer was brought in to evaluate that. You received a letter indicating that the issues that you are experiencing, which are very unfortunate, and we hate to hear that you're having issues with flower beds and other things, but we do not do anything on private property. We will never do any work on private property, and we will continue to maintain the culverts and ditches on the road that are in the right-of-way. And if you have issues where those are getting stopped up, then we will continue to treat those. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we will proceed with discuss Humane Society of Elmore County's fiscal year 2019 agreement.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is your standard agreement with the Humane Society to provide animal shelter and animal services for the coming year. Y'all included this appropriation in the budget for $32,000 to fund these services, and it's just a standard agreement you consider year to year.
Thank you.
Mr. Meyer, other than just some standard date changes or similar updates, anything different in this agreement than the previous year's agreement?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate what they do at the Humane Shelter. We'll proceed now. Consider Commission Office Sharp Copier Lease Agreement, State of Alabama T190 contract.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the contract for the Commission Office copier is about to expire. This would keep us under a lease agreement, which is actually a more cost-effective way for us to keep our office equipment maintained than trying to purchase and maintain an older machine. I believe, if I am not mistaken, this is actually at a discounted rate from what we're currently paying. I would say that the next item for the Drug Task Force with the Canon copier is a similar type item to where their lease is coming up and they're doing the same exact thing to try to be more efficient with their equipment and their allocations.
All right. Thank you. Is there any discussion about that lease agreement or the Central Alabama Drug Task Force Canon copier lease agreement under State of Alabama contract? All right, we'll proceed now. Consider awarding the ACCA Region 4 debris removal contract to KDF Enterprises, LLC.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, some of you may be aware of this contract, but after the 2011 tornado outbreak, there was a statewide effort to come up with a pre-event debris removal and monitoring contract to allow all counties to have the ability to exercise a contract like that. For example, if Hurricane Michael would have turned this way and it would have overwhelmed our resources, we would have the ability to use a contract like this in an instance where we would have been a federally declared county and FEMA would be in here providing assistance. We are actually one of the 7 counties that are asked to actually execute a contract on behalf of the 10 counties in our region. The state's broke up into 7 areas, and so this is the 3rd time that Elmore County has done this for the ACCA, And luckily we have never had to activate under this contract, knock on wood, but we have had several counties in the state that have, including the most recent one was the tornado outbreak that happened in at Jacksonville State, where Calhoun County operated under that. So that's kind of an overview of the debris removal and the debris monitoring. Eric Jones and I served on this original committee, and then the review and oversight of these two bids. I also was involved in that this year through the ACCA. So not only are we asked to award those, but we're also part of the review process and bid RFP process.
All right. Thank you. Is there any discussion regarding the debris removal contract to KDF Enterprises or the debris monitoring service contract to Tetra Tech, Inc.? All right. At this time, I'd like to propose to my fellow commissioners that we add one item to our agenda and for consideration during our business session. As many of you are aware, and you have a copy, we are making an effort to assist the sheriff in following the guidance given by Governor Kay Ivey regarding the payments or the funding for feeding of state prisoners. Many of you are aware that's been in the news over the last 6 months. Governor Ivey has made a specific mandate that those funds are accounted for and followed and tracked very closely in order for Sheriff Franklin to be able to have those funds monitored and for accounting purposes for them to be evaluated regularly per Governor Ivey. We have been asked for Sheriff Franklin to be able to open 3 separate accounts that each will have specific monies in them related to feeding of the state prisoners, and it needs to be under the umbrella of the Elmore County Commission, and that is again to help him fall into the guidelines that Governor Ivey has set forth. So in order to do that, we have received documentation from Prime South Bank for us to execute that. Again, it's under the umbrella of the Elmore County Commission, and then it's 3 separate accounts that the sheriff will be able to follow closely and be able to be audited regularly as the governor has indicated. So if there's no objection, I would like to propose that we add that to our agenda for the chairman to execute documents with Prime South Bank to establish the official use accounts for the sheriff to handle the feeding of inmates. Is there any discussion or any questions regarding that? And is there any objection to us having that added to our business portion of our meeting this evening? Hearing none, we'll move forward. Consent docket, approved declaration of emergency illness for Barry Smith. Personnel notifications, notification of hire of Monica Rose, dispatcher Tier 1, effective 9/30/18. Notification of resignation of James Jewell, dispatcher Tier 1, effective 9/28/18. Notification of termination of Justin Taylor, corrections officer, effective 9/24/18. Notification of hire of Joshua Tidwell, corrections officer, replace Jay Taylor, effective 9/30/18. Reports to the commission, Mr. Byer.
Commissioners, just a couple items tonight. First item is our new EMA director, Mr. Keith Barnett, is sitting here behind me. I think he has had the opportunity to meet each and every one of you. Maybe Commissioner Daughtry came in just a few minutes before the meeting. He may not have that opportunity, but he will, and I appreciate the Wetumpka Herald and Amelia doing a nice introduction story for us over the last week on Keith. He's hit the ground running. He's already almost out of hurricane, had a number of spills and events last week, so I think he's gonna fit well. If I can get him through the first month without scaring him off, I think we're gonna do good. So the next item is just an update on the policy and appraisal portion. At the last meeting, y'all put in effect the pay plan, which will actually hit the employees that are affected their paychecks this coming pay period. The policies are to Webb and Ely for review. We hope by the end of the month we'll be in a position to have those ready for y'all to announce at a meeting that revised document is ready to go. That we have to make that announcement at one meeting, and then y'all can consider action on them at the next meeting, which will probably put them in the November time frame. The appraisal process is being developed and finalized right now. That looks like we'll be looking at the first part of January to really start the implementation phase on that, which will meet our goal and timeline of having those things in place and operational by the FY20 budget. With the meeting occurring on the policies and potential vote on that in November, I've asked the county attorney to go ahead and draft a resolution on the annual time carryover. I spoke with Commissioner Reeves last week, just going through some final details. If y'all recall, during the discussion of the personnel policy, the committee that worked with Commissioner Reeves and Chairman Stubbs on that made the recommendation to increase that carryover time. That will affect employees over the next month and a half, and so we don't want to push that until the end of November with approval of the policies and not have those in place for people to appropriately plan and make sure that they have their time expended before the end of the year and not lose it. So we hope to have that on the October 22nd meeting. The only other thing I really have is the census meeting that we have on November 8th for our Complete Counts Committee. You should have gotten a reminder email about that today. We're a month out from that. We have representatives from the Census Bureau that will join staff as we give an update, and we talk about how collectively our municipalities and the county commission can make sure we're effectively counted in the 2020 census. And so just if you don't have that on your calendar already, I encourage you to come. I think we've gotten about half of the municipalities already committed to come, and we're working on getting the rest of them there. This will not be just introducing them to the census. This will be giving them some real resources to be able to get in people's hands and help us with getting the message out through church groups, civic groups, things of that nature. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have in the way of report. Do y'all have any questions of me?
Thank you. We appreciate the report. We'll proceed now with the reports from the commission. We'll begin with Commissioner Holt.
Excuse me. I'd just like to say I appreciate each and every one of you being here. It's important, and I wish we had more, but we do appreciate the ones of you that are here. And our new EMA director almost got caught in a hurricane. So the first month on the job, it could have got tough, but we appreciate you being on board, and everything I saw and read about you says good things, and I know it'll work out well for us. Also, I'd like to say that I appreciate the work that was done on our new personnel salary reviews and job descriptions and everything that was voted on in the budget. And y'all did a lot of work, and I appreciate that. And we thank you for what you did.
Thank you, Commissioner Holt. Commissioner Daughtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to echo what Commissioner Holt said about welcoming Mr. Barnett on board. I know he's going to do a great job with his very extensive and impressive background. Most of you know that about over 3 weeks ago, the county experienced a horrendous crime in the Deatsville area, where a gentleman who lived in that area stopped to help what he thought was victims of a traffic accident. Turns out they were two criminals on a crime spree, and that gentleman was stabbed numerous times, and unfortunately he passed away. The victim passed away a few days ago. I want to commend our Sheriff's Department for the diligence they did in solving that crime so quickly. I got one member sitting here, and I think it's easy to take our Sheriff's Department for granted when we lay down at night. But thank you, Deputy Colley, and the entire department for making Elmore County a safer place for everyone. And we certainly want to remember the family of that victim in our prayers as they go through this horrible and unnecessary loss of life. And finally, on November the 2nd, on the north end of the county in the Lake Martin area, which is part of my district, we'll be having the Lake Martin Cleanup Day. The Lake Martin Resource Association sponsors that. Numerous entities participate, including Alabama Power, and, City of Alexander City, and a whole lot of different entities, but there'll be roll-off dumpsters all up in that area, so, we're trying to get the word out for that. We do that about 3 to 4 times a year up on that end of the county. We'll try to do it every quarter, and it's been very successful in the past, and we'll continue with that in the future. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Daughtry. Commissioner Mercer?
Thank you, Chairman. At our last meeting, if you recall, we passed the next fiscal year budget, but we also, along with that, we approved new job classifications and a new pay scale for county employees. Since last meeting, I've had numerous citizens tell me how much they appreciated the way we handled this. Had one remind me that they elected the sheriff, the probate judge, and the revenue commissioner to do a job on behalf of Elmore County citizens, and they are thankful that we recognize the fact that we let them be a part of all of the revisions we made, and the job classifications and the pay scale revisions, and we didn't just pass something and send it over to their office and say you need to enforce it. We did what we could do to make them a part of the process, so it would help them be more successful in their efforts to serve the county citizens just like we are. Also, just one last thing, the Millbrook Chamber of Commerce is having their Women in Business Luncheon on October the 18th. You can contact the Millbrook Chamber of Commerce for more information on that event. That's all I have, Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Mercer. Commissioner Reeves? Thank you. I appreciate my fellow commissioners and their comments and remarks. We all have many opportunities to serve in the community, and also we witness many great things that are happening in our community. Some have been shared tonight. I do want to just mention within my district, which encompasses this area of historic downtown Wetumpka, there are currently 6 active construction projects taking place in the immediate downtown Wetumpka area. So if you have not been through downtown Wetumpka, I hope that you will take the time to ride through. There are a lot of local citizens who are investing money in the downtown area. They are stepping out on the proverbial limb and taking a chance. They are building their own businesses, opening their own restaurants, and I hope that we will get out to support them. There's those 6 active construction projects, and I think the last number I heard is I think that there are going to be 9 new businesses or ribbon cuttings in the next month in downtown Wetumpka. So those who say that downtowns are dead haven't come to downtown Wetumpka. It's being revived, and I appreciate the efforts of the citizens who have taken it to heart and are very passionate about it, and I hope that we will all look for opportunities and ways in which we can support those locally owned businesses. And that is all I have. We'll turn the time over now to Kim for important calendar dates.
Saturday, October 13th will be the next countywide cleanup from 9 to 1, noting the rotating location is the Cusata Post Office, and Monday, October 22nd at 5 p.m. is our next work session with the business meeting following.
Thank you. We'll reconvene shortly. We'd like to welcome you to the Elmore County Commission business meeting dated Tuesday, October 9, 2018 at 5:30. Call this meeting to order. We'll begin with an invocation offered by Commissioner Mercer, following which Commissioner Daughtry will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Chairman. Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to bring us here tonight, Lord, and to serve you, Lord. We thank you for loving us, Lord, when sometimes we don't deserve it. Father, we thank you for the people that serve us here in the county, our first responders, our law enforcement officers, Lord. We thank you that you ask that you stay with them, keep them safe. Father, we ask for your hand of comfort and protection. Those people that are in the path of the storm that's coming in the Gulf, Father, we ask that you comfort them and keep them safe and protected. Father, we ask these things in your name. Amen.
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 Let us stand for the pledge, please. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Ms. Kim, would you call roll?
Commissioner Holt,
Here.
Commissioner Daughtry,
Here.
Chairman Stebbs,
Here.
Commissioner Mercer,
Here.
Commissioner Reeves.
All right, we'll proceed with regular business. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the September 24, 2018 commission meeting?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry,
Yes.
Chairman Stebbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer,
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve the memorandum of warrants for the period of September 19, 2018 through September 30, 2018?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry,
Yes.
Chairman Stebbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer,
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves.
Yes. Proceeding with new business, is there a motion to approve authorizing chairman to execute documents with Prime South Bank to establish office use accounts for the sheriff to handle the feeding of inmates?
I make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry,
Yes.
Chairman Stebbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer,
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve Humane Society of Elmore County fiscal year 2019 agreement?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry,
Yes.
Chairman Stebbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer,
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve Commission Office Sharp Copier Lease Agreement, State of Alabama T-190 contract?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry,
Yes.
Chairman Stebbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer,
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve CADTF Canon Copier Lease Agreement under State of Alabama contract?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry,
Yes.
Chairman Stebbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer,
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve awarding the ACCA Region 4 debris removal contract to KDF Enterprises LLC?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry,
Yes.
Chairman Stebbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer,
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve awarding the ACCA Region 4 debris monitoring service contract to Tetra Tech, Inc.?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry,
Yes.
Chairman Stebbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer,
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve the consent docket as presented?
Yes. Motion.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry,
Yes.
Chairman Stebbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer,
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves.
Yes. Personnel notifications. Notification of hire of Monica Rose, dispatcher Tier 1, effective 9/30/18. Notification of resignation of James Jewell, dispatcher Tier 1, effective 9/28/18. Notification of termination of Justin Taylor, corrections officer, effective 9/24/18. Notification of hire of Joshua Tidwell, corrections officer, replace Jay Taylor, effective 9/30/18. Any additional reports? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry,
Yes.
Chairman Stebbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer,
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves.
Meeting adjourned.